Hi there, Alan Voivod, co-owner and ally in Possibility at Epiphanies Inc. here with you. And this is just a brief introduction to our five-minute micro-optimizations for your 5 social media profiles. This is a presentation we did as part of a joint workshop between Constant Contact and Epiphanies Inc. that was done also in partnership with Southern New Hampshire University. Thanks so much in advance for watching, and here we go.
For quite a few years now. We just celebrated our 10-year anniversary in business, not in marriage. Marriage is a little longer, but as incorporated as Epiphanies Inc. And we just launched something called the AHA Tribe this year, and it's a social media marketing and success mastermind community that we are determined to teach as many people month by month down and dirty marketing, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, blogging, Google+. So we want to go month by month. So if anyone else is like us, feeling a little overwhelmed with what we're...
Just to look at.
I know. So our job, that's why we started January with Down and Dirty Marketing. So when we had the opportunity to co-present with Constant Contact, to have about half an hour to give what we can share and make the best, most positive effect for your businesses. We're like, you know what would really be helpful if we could just pluck five of those platforms that we really professionally recommend that you, if you're not on yet, then you really seriously consider, so you can get just a little bit better. If you could take 5 minutes on each of these platforms, what could you do to bump up your visibility, your reach, amplify your message, mission, vision, even if you might be as time crunched and crazed as we are on a daily basis trying to run your own business. So did you already fly through
Well, I blasted past
my word? Okay.
Here's your word.
So we're totally obsessed with this word that I can only pronounce half the time. Microptimize. That was better than usual. So microptimize. So that's micro-optimization. This is for anyone trying to run a business and have kids and do things like full catastrophe, maybe have a few other things, trying to fit in an exercise class or two or something. So our goal is to do things down and dirty, fast and easy, cheap and free. That is what we celebrate. And
little bits at a time.
Little bits at a time.
So you don't overwhelm yourself.
In between the corners of the day. And that's what this presentation is about. So
it all comes down to 4 sweeping guidelines that we want to share with you. And this is going to apply across any platform, whether it's one of the 5 that we're talking about today or anything else you would get on. Be human. As Heather alluded to earlier, we're not just doing business with businesses. We're actually doing business with other people. And it doesn't matter whether this is happening through email or on social media or in person. We're not talking to a nameless, anonymous, faceless business. And the more businesses and organizations that present themselves that way are going to turn people off. They're going to turn all of us off for them, and we're going to gravitate more, and we already are as people, right? We gravitate more toward the people where we actually feel a human connection in a relationship, right? So that's sweeping guideline number 1, be human. The second thing is starting to think mobile. And we also had a bit of this discussion on the email side of things. So crazy statistics. YouTube is saying that more than 40%, or actually about 40% of their global video views are happening on mobile devices. 40%, and they upload 100 hours a second or something like that. So a ridiculous amount being shot through mobile devices on YouTube. Twitter, 76% of the activity on Twitter is happening on mobile devices. Facebook, they're saying 48% of people are actually using Facebook exclusively on mobile devices, and something on the order of 75% are actually doing it part-time on mobile devices.
And that's going to tip later this year, so we're at 48%, but it's just minutes away, I think seconds away from tipping to the over 50% mark.
So changing your mindset to realize that where people are going to see the content that you're sharing on mobile devices, this is becoming a primary way for you to shift your mindset and think.
And Heather said that 55% of people are checking their emails on mobile. I mean, that's a whole different way of sharing content that you have to just put at the front of your mind in every time you try to reach someone.
Third thing is to go visual. You want this one?
Oh, yeah. Every single platform is just making leaps and bounds of turning communications away from words, although words still have their place, and toward visual. Did anybody download Facebook's Paper app by any chance? They just launched something. They just celebrated their 10th, Facebook celebrated their 10th anniversary, and in the same 24-hour period, they launched something called Paper. And it's a app like Flipboard that lets you experience your Facebook news feed in a different way with categories that are customized to you, and it is all image driven. And they have the most incredible training program. Basically, there's literally like little bubbles that come down to show you where to sweep your fingers down, and a voice says, "That's right, you're doing great." And I'm like, what is going on? So, but the thing I want you to know is visuals are where it's at. So if you're posting blog posts, if you're sharing emails, if you're on Twitter, and we'll get to this, but you gotta think visually as much or more so than you think in text if you don't already do so.
And the last thing is to tell stories. And by stories, we're not saying that you have to write, long-winded posts that, have a beginning, a middle, and end, and think about character and plot and themes and all of that. We're talking about telling your story of your business, your brand, of a particular event, a particular thing that's happening with emotion, relating it to people's experiences in their own lives, actually giving people a context to experience what it is that you're talking about with your own business or organization.
And in the world of micro-optimization, if you think in terms of like here it is February 2014, at the end of 2014, if you get pretty good at flitting and fleeting these images, these little bits of information and insights throughout the year, over the course of the year, in 5 minutes or less, at the end of the year, you have told a story. You have told your brand story. You've shared what you're passionate about. You've shared what your company is about or what your mission is, and it's a much more human way to do it. And then maybe by then you've gotten pretty good at curating these ideas, or taking a few things and segmenting them and showing like 5 or 10 pictures together that tell its own story about here are the events I've gone to. So it's a mix of being nimble and relying on the fact that no matter who you are a creative individual, and these tools are in your hand. These tools are there for you, and all you need to be is willing to play, to experiment, to be imperfect about it. You ready to go?
All right. So this is kind of in order, in a sense, and I know that was the question earlier. Facebook, being the 800-pound gorilla in the social media room, is probably the place to start because it's all about where your audience is, ultimately. And at the numbers that we're at now, everybody's audience is on Facebook. Since we are in New Hampshire, let's just throw it out to the room really quickly. Take a guess. How many New Hampshire residents on Facebook? 1.3 million total in the state. Not all of them are eligible for Facebook accounts because they're young. Any guesses? 1 million.
750,000.
I heard every range is from 300 up to 1,000 up to 1 million. It is just over 700,000. Quite a lot.
Globally, they're saying 1.23 billion people on the planet. We've got 7 billion people on the planet. That's a pretty good chunk, considering some of this planet is not yet,
Even connected, per se.
Yeah, connected online. That's all changing too.
But
Yes.
depending on your audience, 70 to 75% of the state is on Facebook. Yeah.
So what we're going to do is we're going to blast out, we're going to go through this, and then we will hopefully have time for questions toward the end, if you guys are sticking with us. So we want to make sure that we get everything in, and we will write down the questions or tweet them to us.
With the AHACC hashtag if you're on Twitter.
And we'll answer to you directly.
All right. So a couple things for micro-optimizing your Facebook profile. And we are talking about profiles here today because more and more we are representing ourselves as professional people on our different platforms. And these different platforms also offer ways for us to segment between what we share between what audiences. So for example, on Facebook, if you are putting people that you are becoming friends with into a friends-only list, or a business list, or you're putting them in both lists because you're actually friends with some of the people that you do business with. And you can then choose to post and share that post with whichever audience you think is relevant. But we're all talking about profiles here today, not pages for your different social presences. So, telling your stories with key images. And this is a screenshot of what Lonnie's Facebook profile looks like right now with her cover image, Wonder Woman.
Because my girlfriend had just bought me a Wonder Woman bracelet, so I updated it.
These obviously have a significant amount of personality in the image. And what you can do with these images, because whether you're changing them every couple of months or whether you put one on there and you forget it for a while, what we see a lot of people do is not have anything in the description. They just upload a cover image or they just upload a profile picture, but they don't tell anything else about that. So this is one place that we would like to suggest that you consider a micro-optimization opportunity, looking at your profile picture and looking at your cover image and adding a description to it that tells a little bit more about who you are, not professionally, but also personally, not privately necessarily, not like which doctor in the whole doctor's office you've been seeing or anything like that, but that expresses who you are, your personal brand, your personality.
Yes. How many people here have changed their profile picture more than a few times over the last few years, right? Every time it's just an opportunity to give a little bit of accompaniment, and you realize that while the world may not notice, the world may not pay attention, those who are, maybe they are potential clients, potential customers, people who are just looking to find out more about you, an old friend, a new friend, they will go maybe, and I find one of the quickest way to find out what someone's about is to see what their profile pictures are, what the history of their profile pictures are, and or their cover photos. You get a sense, are they a family person? Are they into, majestic height scene shots? Are they into quirky stuff? So take a look at your own. It's like Googling yourself, except it's different and it's image-driven. So take a look at the story you're telling and see how maybe during the course of 2014 you want to mix it up a little bit. Use these spaces because people, whether they engage or not, there are so many social voyeurs. Anyone here a social voyeur? Anyone? We may not all be liking everything we see, but we're seeing a lot more than we're liking, yes? So remember that these tools are an extension of who you are.
And even in the corporate America side of things, recruiters and headhunters are looking at Facebook profiles as not only a means of evaluating potential job candidates, people who have applied, but also what they call passive candidates, people who would accept an offer if it was really awesome, but who aren't actively looking. Another reason why they do that. Also, the other thing we want to suggest is linking your job to a Facebook page. So we have Mike Lowe, who actually is in the room today, and who is one of the members.
Mike!
Who is right there. And when you see the About, it says owner at Mike Lowe Media, LLC, and it's actually connected to his Facebook page. You can do that, and it's better that you do that as opposed to doing something like this, where somebody who I found randomly, and no names, so we don't, protect the innocent. It says works at Veritron Technologies, and there is actually no Veritron Technologies page, so it's just a company with a blank briefcase. This does not present a professional opinion of yourself on Facebook.
This is a tiny tweak, and it looks to be about 50% of the people are aware of that little thing. If someone's come to find out more about you on your Facebook profile, and you're proud of where you work, then definitely make sure that you're not working at a unnamed suitcase or a named suitcase.
All right, so we'll go to the next one, which is LinkedIn. And why don't we just jump into it? This, if you're all familiar with LinkedIn, how many of us in the room have LinkedIn accounts? This is pretty much actually, I should ask, at this rate, I should just ask the question. Who in this room does not have a LinkedIn account?
I don't.
All right, so yeah, there are 3 or 4. Okay, so.
Proud.
Yeah, I am proud of that.
Yeah, really.
I'm going to introduce you to someone soon. He's on the next page.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's another thing too. All right, so when you go to LinkedIn, this is the space that you see presented for a particular person's social media profile. And for anybody who's not over in the room, you know what? I brought the cat toy. I actually don't use this thing in presentations, so I don't know if you can even see it.
It's the cat toy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you know what? It works better for the cat. Anyway.
I can Vanna White it.
Oh, you can? Okay, so I'm going to say optimize the heck out of this small space. So here, you can Vanna White for that side. Right underneath Melanie Dodaro's name, who she says, the media calls me Canada's #1 LinkedIn expert. All right, then. So that section right here is called a headline for your profile. This thing gets indexed by search in LinkedIn. So for example, Melanie wants to be seen as a LinkedIn expert. So if you were to search LinkedIn experts on LinkedIn, then she is going to come up because she's optimizing for these terms. Speaker on LinkedIn, social media, social selling. I really gotta watch it. I've been slipping this week. These are keyword terms that she's actually optimizing for in LinkedIn. So as you are looking at your own LinkedIn profile and thinking, what do you want to be found for? And I want to stress that it's not what you've done in the past. It's not necessarily what you're doing now. It could be what you want to attract into your professional life. Think of it in those terms. If you were going to be searched for a particular keyword or phrase, what do you want that to be, even if it isn't necessarily where you're at right now? These are the kinds of things you want to pepper in here. And then right below it, where it says current, this is her current employment position. So Lonnie, let's get it over there.
Yeah.
And there are actually two things that are listed here. She has two positions listed as current. One of them says Top Dog Social Media, which is her company. And then another one says Top Dog Social Media, LinkedIn Trainer, Social Media Trainer. And if you are familiar with LinkedIn, then when you actually scroll down and you see her experience, it has two jobs listed, and it has all of this information about how she has a social media consulting company, and then a second job that's all about how she's a social media trainer and speaker. So I think we're all in the mindset of typical resumes where we think, okay, well, this is my current job, and then I have to list my past job, and I have to list my next job, or the job previous before that. Instead, what you can do is you can break out the different parts of your small business or your organization and say, well, what do we really deliver to our clients? What do we deliver to our customers, to our stakeholders, what have you, however you define them. And you can write different sections and call that current and optimize for search.
You can break the rules. You can bend the rules. You can bend the spoon, as they say in the Matrix. There is no spoon. So you can play with these areas on LinkedIn to accommodate. Like, I love what Alan just said, just as what you want to attract, where you want to be, how you want to be seen. I mean, as long as it's in an authentic way, but it's such a small place to produce so many good results, and we'll show you what not to do.
Mm-hmm. Yes. 2 slides from now.
Okay, I'm so excited for
I'm going to
that.
have you, Vanna, the contact info thing right here.
What am I doing?
The contact info on the bottom left?
Yes.
Yes, exactly. So when you click that, it's going to expand and give some information that you can also share on your profile. What it defaults to is up in the top center where it says websites, company website and personal website. And many people do not customize that.
Most people, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
They're like,
But
"That's
you
fine."
can. So you can actually add Twitter and have it say, like on the left, this is the one that I have, where it says Alan Voivod in websites. Aha yourself on our site. So that goes directly to our website, but it's more of a call to action. Check out the AHA Tribe, and it goes to our AHA Tribe website. Come to our AHA Summit that we hold every year across the street at Southern New Hampshire University. And those links direct to the website, but they're calls to action. Over on the right here, this is what Melanie does on hers, social media marketing, and that's one of her websites, and that's a term she's optimizing for. Social media speaker, again, a term she's optimizing for. Free LinkedIn webinar. So there's at least something where you can say, oh, if I want to get some access to something, now there's kind of a call to action for some benefit for me. But otherwise, you can think of it either as calls to action that you can customize, or you can think of it as search engine terms within LinkedIn that you can optimize to help people find you for what you want to be found for.
And these search terms, they don't just, people coming to LinkedIn to find, oh, I need a social media speaker. They will put in that phrase, and that brings Melanie to the forefront. It also works, and let me know if I'm wrong on this, that's gets optimized, it passes through to Google. So if people just use those search terms on Google, there's a greater chance she will be found for these search terms.
Yes, particularly if you have your profile to the point, because you can control privacy aspects of your LinkedIn profile, but the more open you have it, the better it can be indexed by Google.
So yeah, that's what we're excited about. One of the things about social media sites is, whatever you think of them, they are the world's highest search engine machines out there. Linked, they are placing on page 1. So if people are looking for what you offer, your product or service, your name, whatever, if you have a Twitter account, an active Twitter account, LinkedIn, Facebook, these things are coming up on page 1, and we'll get to Google Plus too. But.
Put it this way, these major social media sites are among the top 20 most trafficked websites in the world, which means that it's relevant to people who are searching for things online, and Google has to say, well, shucks, if we have to deliver relevant search results, so we're going to have to deliver LinkedIn and Facebook and Twitter and all these other things in our search results, even though they have their own social networking platform. So here's the slide that Lonnie has been dying to show you, which is here's what you don't want to do with what your LinkedIn profile looks like.
It's a quick side note, this is total payback from when I was a small girl and his sister and I had to babysit him, and we literally ended up having to tie him to a chair because he had ADD before it was cool, and he was running out of the windows and tormenting us. So I have no guilt over this. This is my cousin, Doug. He's incredibly smart. He's incredibly he's a salesperson. He's funny. He has never been on LinkedIn. Doesn't care. Hasn't cared until his life has changed a few things, and now he's looking to reinvent himself. So I'm like, hey, dude, you got to get on LinkedIn. So he's got 7 connections. He's a business professional. Would anybody here like to hire a business professional? I can't believe that. He's got it. His head is about half the size of anyone else's who's in his face, which could that's actually very artistic in some frames.
It's
I don't
matted.
think he meant it like that. And at least he's got some previous experience, but we don't know. But if you can contrast this with what Alan was saying, is how you can just be a little smarter and pay attention to what you want to be found for, and maybe a little distinguish yourself from business professional, you're already ahead of my cousin Doug. Don't be Doug. You can put that as a hashtag.
He just joined Twitter didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He's taking little baby steps, so we'll watch him over the year and see how he does.
All right. All right, so Twitter. As we said earlier, 67% use it on mobile.
Or dyslexia boy, or 76.
Oh, did I say that? Wow.
You guys have been married.
Yeah, she doesn't let anything by me. Like most people would just let me get away with that. And yeah, this is fascinating. All right. All right. So 76% using it on mobile, and we actually put the raw numbers here just to make it a little more awe-inspiring. 241 million users on Twitter,
And they claim active users, so that...
Good point.
Yeah.
Of which 184 million are checking the social network through mobile, and that's a stat that was released just this week. So we have what the mobile interface looks like here, and one of the things that we're going to recommend to you is to obsess over that 160-character bio. This is mine, and it's a little pixelated because expanding it from the mobile side to this giant screen makes it a little bumpy, but if I could call in the services of my Vanna over there, and I'll Vanna for you on the next one if you like.
Thanks.
So these are keywords that can be searched, and the good news is, for example, storyteller is one of the things that's in my bio. So if you were actually to type the hashtag storyteller, or storytelling even, on Twitter to find people who are having these kinds of conversations, it will also show you people who have listed these things in their profiles. And my profile will come up in there. Epiphany Zink's profile on Twitter also shows up on there. So thinking about the keywords and hashtags that are used on Twitter and being able to use a few of these in your bio is a good thing. I also have in here the fact that we are, that I'm an AHA Summit founder, so the event that we put on every year. And this is the Twitter account. So this is the @AHA Summit Twitter account, and that's linked. So if you're on mobile or on the desktop, you can actually click or touch on that and be brought right to the AHA Summit Twitter account. Same thing with @Epiphany Zink with @Lonnie Voivod. So I create all these opportunities to show how broad our brand actually is. And if you have a hashtag in here, the hashtag is also clickable as well.
Also, why do you think he uses the word Jedi? What might he be a fan of?
Star Wars stuff.
Yeah, so he actually gets some business because of that one little word, so you can be strategic in what you're doing here. And I don't know about you guys, and I don't know how much you use who here uses Twitter pretty frequently? What kind of room? Good, okay. I'll tell you, in this world of proliferation of content, of things that you can research, when you are looking to do business with, or you're finding out something more about a new client or customer, or vice versa, this has proven to be one of the easiest, fastest ways for me to do quick research. Their LinkedIn profile is their neat place where everything, all hopefully I's are dotted and T's are crossed. This is a little more human. It's faster. I can check out their last 5 or 10 tweets and get a sense maybe of who they are and what they're about. And so it's a real quick ninja trick. So even if you're not a big tweeter, it's a great place to do research. And again, Twitter, dun dun dun, in terms of search.
For the number of searches processed, Google is number 1 in the world, YouTube is number 2, and Twitter is number 3.
So Twitter, if you have a profile on Twitter, you're probably, if someone's searching your name, they're probably...
So in terms of the number of searches processed globally, Google is the number 1 search engine. YouTube is the second. It processes the second highest number of searches in a given month. And it's not Yahoo or Bing or Ask or any of the others that's third. It's Twitter. Crazy, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I was saying. So Twitter more and more is coming up as a page 1. So if people want to find you, that's a great place for people to extend your personal brand. These things that we're talking about apply to companies also, because as we said at the beginning, companies do business with other companies, but who's behind those other companies? They're humans. So hopefully by now your company has a brand of its own, has a voice of its own, has an agenda, has a vision, has a culture, right? Has things that they stand for. So these similar, you still want to think in terms of keywords. You want to think in terms of who you want to attract. And so your company has a Twitter bio space that allows for 160 characters or less. So you just, you want to take 5 minutes and maybe look at some of your competition, look at some of your ideal clients and customers and see how they're sharing themselves, see what you like, and as it says, obsess over your company's Twitter bio. Twitter earns page 1 juice from Google. So if you are sharing any kind of content on Twitter, as a company, it's going to, each tweet is its own separate URL. Every tweet, most people don't know that, so it is the fastest, easiest way to boost your content kingdom without much effort. But the big thing is, if you have a Facebook page, link it, make it go through to Twitter, so you don't even have to do any extra work. I see lots of businesses doing that. It's not ideal, but it's what they can do.
And the other thing I'll mention for, because it matters, because if we didn't earn money, we wouldn't be in business and we wouldn't be able to do what we love to do. I can tell you personally, like, we have made sponsorship sales, we have made event ticket sales, we have sold memberships to our AHA tribe through contact on Twitter, specifically on Twitter. So Twitter does equal money as well. It's not the primary reason or primary activity that you should be conducting on there, but relationships that we built on Twitter have led to revenue for our business. Posting photos straight to Twitter. So Instagram turned off where when you shared something on Instagram and it went to Twitter, it used to share the photo right in your Twitter feed. Now it just shows the link and you actually have to go off-site to do this. I think that's a foolish move by Twitter because you're sending people away from Twitter. Anyway, the point is as we talked about with thinking visually or going to the visual side of things, now when people look at your Twitter profile, there's that photos and media side of things that they get a visual representation of who you are and what you stand for on Twitter. And there was a study done recently by Buffer, which is the social media scheduling application, that said tweets with images received 150% more retweets. So getting visual is actually creating greater engagement on Twitter as well. So if you are able to start thinking in terms of being able to share photos with what you tweet as a best practice, so much the better.
It helps your tweet jump from what people are consuming your media on mobile to. It shows your image with the tweet, which is new as of last few months ago.
Now moving on to YouTube. And we talked about this a little bit earlier. 40% of YouTube global watch time is mobile, so keeping that in mind, you know that you have to do it shorter rather than longer, because how often do we really want to stare at our phones for 10 minutes watching a video? Use playlists for viewer guidance and SEO. If you are posting a lot of videos on your channel, you can actually help guide your channel viewers to see things that are particularly relevant to them by grouping some of your videos into playlists. And use that even for your thinking for how you are going to add videos to your YouTube channel by thinking in terms of a series of shorter videos that you could then group into one playlist. Playlists also have their own internal descriptions inside YouTube, so you can actually fill out additional information about your business, about your products and services, or about what you stand for and the keywords that you want to be found for, and have that represented inside YouTube. I point that out also because when you look at YouTube on your mobile device and you look at a particular channel, you get activity, videos, and playlists. These are your only options here. So, so having well thought out playlists is crucial to the mobile experience on YouTube. Obsessing over your about text. Now this is from the desktop because there are still 60% of people looking at YouTube on the desktop. When you go to a channel, you see a home thing, videos, discussion, and then about. I would say most of the first 3 lines here actually get carried through into a number of different places on YouTube. So this is actually an opportunity for you to express your brand, express your value, add keywords, not spammily, but just relevantly, naturally, conversationally, into your about text to talk about what your channel represents and what value it's going to bring to the people who subscribe to it. And speaking of subscriptions, we recommend that you make, and even if it's just with your phone, even if you're shooting a 1-minute, hey, I'm so glad you're here to my YouTube channel, make what we call a down and dirty unsubscribed trailer. How many people have heard of unsubscribed trailers? YouTube? So what happens is, if you are not subscribed to a YouTube channel, then you can actually post a video and tell YouTube, hey, if somebody comes to our channel page and they are not subscribers to our YouTube channel, show this video. And you pick the video and say, and it can be a video of you saying, hi, thank you so much for being here. Here's why you should subscribe right now. A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. Do it now. You can have that be part of the text of the video description as well. And it doesn't have to be professionally produced. It's probably the place where you would want it to be most professionally produced. But even if you didn't and you got that extra bit of momentum, that extra bit of a call to action for somebody, like Epic Mealtime, which has a well-produced but very badly lit video as part of their subscribe trailer. Like, get something out there and take advantage of that particular opportunity.
And if anyone doesn't know, Google owns YouTube, so more and more these places are playing together. And you're talking about getting found with search. You're talking about using those spaces to integrate keywords with opportunities to humanize your brand, your business, and to engagement at every touch point.
And lastly, Google+. So here's where my favorite quote of all time, we teach best what we most need to learn, comes into play. When I looked at my Google Plus profile this week, I saw story and work, and it said occupation. What do you do? So I apparently have not filled in my Google Plus profile. Skills. What are your skills? I haven't told them this. I did have my current employment on here, which is good, thankfully, and I have a tagline, family man, business storyteller, etc. Introduction. Put a little about yourself here so people know they found the correct Alan. My goodness, I have micro-optimization opportunities that I can pursue too. So, as you look at your profiles, whether it's Google Plus or Facebook or anything like that, and as you find these spaces where you have not filled in certain things, take a moment to fill in one at a time. If you have the time, fill in a second one. Pick them off little by little, and don't try to eat the whole elephant like right in one sitting. Eat it just one bite at a time.
And again, because is this around the profiles? Yes. Why? Because we do business with people. So on Google Plus, if you guys are not on Google Plus yet, and a lot of people, like, oh no, not another thing. Like, it is just in terms of search, in terms of, it is Google's favorite child.
And they are throwing everything into it to make sure that it sticks. Not like previous things like Buzz and Orkut that's popular in Brazil but not in the US. And they want this to succeed, so they're going to throw everything behind it. The second thing is to pay attention, particularly to the field that's your tagline. Because when you go throughout Google Plus and you see the little icons of people's faces, or in the case of our, this is Lonnie's brother's college roommate, Mike, who didn't put a picture up there and who hasn't put a cover image up there, so he gets that little funny thing. As you roll over those images, this is what happens that pops up. So you get Ben, who's an entrepreneur, a tech enthusiast, interested with wearable development. So you actually get a sense of who he is. Or Lisa, unique and fun, love to smile, right your way in New Hampshire.
Don't you want to put her in your circle? Doesn't that sound nice, right?
This is your best thumbnail opportunity to start expanding your circles. And then, as Lonnie mentioned, YouTube and Google Plus are now integrated because Google owns YouTube and they want Google Plus to succeed. So now they're blowing it to the point where, even though this is your comments from a particular video that we have on YouTube. This is a YouTube screenshot, and a couple people Emily Howes commented on it. And the fact of the matter is that this is a screenshot from my Google Plus page. That comment originated on here. She actually posted her comment on our Google Plus page from where we shared the video, and yet it was also being brought over into YouTube. So now it's also an additional visibility place for you. So if you're commenting on people's YouTube videos as shared in Google Plus, you now have the opportunity to be seen in both places, which is not necessarily a bad thing.
So just,
but it's also something to be aware of too.
Always be aware. Yeah, so more than ever, you know, don't put anything out there in the world that you don't want your grandmother to see, your kids to see, or your parents, and that you wouldn't mind being on the front page of the New York Times.
So wrapping it up, again, just to remind you of these guidelines. Be human, think mobile, go visual, tell stories. You do these well and you pick off these little pieces one at a time, update them here and there, and you will actually manage to survive without being too overwhelmed. And if there's anything particularly awesome for the folks who were here on Twitter that you liked, or anything on Facebook even that you would like to share about what was in this presentation, we'd really appreciate it if you tweeted it or shared it on Facebook and managed to tag Epiphanies Inc. We're at facebook.com/aha yourself for that.
And join our email newsletter. We're supposed to say that too, right?
Yep. And thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it. And again, we'll be here. We'll send the slide deck. We'll have presentation. We'll have time for questions afterward too. And with that, we'll turn it over to Heather.